Obviously, Republicans had a good night. What stands out to me, though, is that the American people sent a message, one that they've sent for several elections now. They expect the people they elect to work as hard as they do.
First up today on CNN Student News, President Obama reacting to a midterm election that largely went against his political party in Congress. Americans voted to take Senate control from the president's fellow Democrats and give it to Republicans. They also voted to give Republicans their biggest majority in the House of Representatives since World War II.
Well, what is right now is a Congress that looks nothing like the Congress that Barack Obama started with. Look at the U.S. Senate first. We fly it up high here. Back when he took over in 2008, the Republicans were on the ropes. They had 41 seats. The Democrats had 57, plus 2 independents that caucused with them. In 2010, they lost 6 seats here on the Democratic side, gained a little bit back in 2012, but then came the deluge. Look at what happened overnight. The Republicans at 52 at least as we go through the counting here. Democrats down to 43, a couple of independents, one of whom may change sides, and some undecided, but nonetheless, Republicans in charge. This chamber has changed in a dramatic way. And if you go across the rotunda in the Capitol over to the U.S. House of Representatives, there the numbers are even more stark. Let's change everything over here and look at the House and take it up high. 2008, when Barack Obama took over, Republicans 178 seats, Democrats 257. Then, 2 years later, there was a landslide. The Democrats lost 66 seats. They gained a little bit back. Look at the numbers now, because this is where we stand at this hour as we're adding this up. 242 for the Republicans, 174 for the Democrats, some still undecided out there, but this is a rout. You add it all up, and President Obama in his 2 midterms will end up losing somewhere between 60 and 70 seats in Congress. Compare that to some other presidents out there. Ronald Reagan lost 31 during his midterms. George W. Bush lost just 22 during his midterms, and Bill Clinton lost just 49. All of this means that if the numbers keep running true this way, Barack Obama will have ended up losing more seats. His party will have lost more seats during his midterms than any party has with any president since Harry Truman. So this is a real setback for the Democrats right now, and the landscape, the fundamental political landscape, is changed dramatically.
Now, this is why it matters. The U.S. has an executive branch controlled by a Democrat, and it will have a legislative branch controlled by Republicans. Can they bridge their differences on how to govern the country? You know from civics that bills usually start in the House or Senate. Details are hammered out between the 2 chambers, and if a compromise is reached, it heads to the president for signature into law. But if President Obama, a Democrat, doesn't like the bills that Republican lawmakers pass, he can veto them. And it takes a 2/3 vote in both chambers of Congress to override that veto. That's hard to do. The president can bypass Congress and make policy changes through executive orders. But those are limited. They can be challenged in court, and Congress can decide not to fund them. Without significant compromise, the Capitol could get tense.
For all of the Democratic losses, the single biggest casualty of the night may have been President Obama's agenda, his ability to determine what's being discussed in the houses of Congress. Here are some specific examples. After the Newtown shooting, there was a lot of energy in this country for new gun control laws. The Democrats could not turn that into passable legislation. It is very unlikely that emboldened Republicans will now give the president any kind of other shot at that. What about immigration reform? Democrats and Republicans have constantly disagreed on how that should be managed. Again, unless the president changes his stance a lot, Republicans are not going to help him get anything through in all likelihood. Yes, Republicans like the idea of new infrastructure improvements. They like new bridges, new roads, new dams, new electrical grids, but they will not want to pay for this with increased taxes. They will want cuts to social programs to pay for it. That's a non-starter for Democrats. And of course, there is Obamacare. Many Republicans concede they cannot overturn it now, but they can certainly make it very hard for President Obama and Democrats to make any refinements or changes that could make it work better in Democratic eyes. All of this could basically take all these things off the table, kill them right now, and more importantly, Republicans could then start shoving legislation at the president that he feels he simply cannot sign as a Democrat. And then the Republicans will say, which party is the party of no now? And that could be a tough pill for the Democrats to swallow.
Why are old school pirates always depicted wearing an eye patch? Well, they are not alive to tell us. But a popular theory has nothing to do with injuries from sword fights. If a pirate had to move quickly from topside to below deck, from bright sunlight to near total darkness, keeping one eye covered would keep that eye accustomed to low light, making it easier for him to see without having to take the time to adjust his vision. It's not documented in history, but it's not hard to envision. Plus, it's random. This is a cat, and he's feline, all right. But the term cat describes much more than this. It includes any members of the family Felidae: tigers, lions, leopards, cougars. And there's a place in Texas that rescues big cats that might have been abandoned or abused, or maybe they came from zoos or circuses after retirement. What's it like to care for them?
My name is Derek Cron, and this is what it's like to work with big cats. I'm the operations director of the Center for Animal Research and Education. It's a nonprofit big cat sanctuary. As of right now, we've got 41 cats, mostly tigers. We've got cougars, leopards, lions. We live here on site with our family. I mean, they're basically in our backyard. I'm normally surrounded by all of these cats. Go back here. Oh my goodness, oh my goodness, oh my goodness. Hi. I thought that the lifestyle that I was leading here was very interesting, and it could be very relatable to a lot of different people. What really set everything off was when I started fining, and I started just taking 6-second clips of the cats. I had spent years building a relationship with all of the different cats, and I was able to then translate that to my video content. Hello. It's made a huge impact on my life and the life of my family and the life of the organization. And I think that people really appreciate that honesty about the real human-based stories that we've got going on here. Look, you're being kind of rude, honestly. Trying to do an interview. You do become like a surrogate father figure to a lot of them. Who are you? Ow, you peed on me. That's great. Really what a lot of it boils down to, they become your friends. They become your very, very close and very dear friends.
On our transcript page at cnnstudentnews.com, we are getting thousands of roll call requests every day. Thanks to all of you for your patience. We're going to start in Kaohsiung today. It's in Taiwan, and it's where we're on in Kaohsiung High School. The Centennial State of Colorado is next at Monte Vista Middle School in Monte Vista. Hello to the Pirates. How are you doing? And how about them dogs? The Bulldogs of UMS Wright Preparatory School are watching. Good to see you in Mobile, Alabama. Apparently, some researchers thought that the cameras in the March of the Penguins just didn't get close enough to the birds. So someone invented this. It's a remote-controlled penguin rover. It's got mobility, it's got cameras, it gets really close-up views of the animals. Now, you might be asking why. Researchers say that penguins are less stressed by rovers than humans, that their heart rates are lower, so the camera can get closer. Now, you might think it's for the birds, but for scientists with the funding, it's a penguiner. It's a really big deal. It makes the flightless more frightless, wondering what'll they think of next. I'm Carl Azuz, winging it for CNN Student News. Tomorrow's Friday, and you know what that means.